water. Plants, people, and critters all depend on water, so it's important to understand where our water comes from.
And it's important to make the most of our water when it comes to caring for our own backyards.
Hi, I'm Greg Rayburn.
And I'm Doug Rice.
Today on Yard Talk, we want to talk a little bit about where our water comes from and how it gets to you.
And we're going to talk a lot about some tried and true methods for smart watering, and some new creative ways to conserve water using rain barrels, cisterns, and more.
And we'll show you some design ideas for your garden, plus tips and tricks you can use to conserve water in your garden today.
So join us as we visit some beautiful Waterwise gardens in King County.
But first, do you know where our water comes from?
I don't know, from the stream somewhere up in the mountains?
It might come from the ocean.
I think it's the river, Cedar River, Watershed.
I would say the mountains, and probably not the ocean because it's saltwater, so the mountains.
From the ocean!
The fact is, water comes from the sky and the ground and the mountains and the rivers, and even from the tap on your sink. Living in the Pacific Northwest, we tend to have wet winters with lots of water and dry summers with very little rain. Conserving water year-round gives both people and salmon access to water when our resources are lower. To learn more, we're here with Chris Holland of the Cedar River Education Center. Chris, can you tell us a little bit about a water cycle and the Cedar River Watershed and how it all works?
Sure, the water cycle is an amazing process. The water is always in movement, and the water we are using today is the same water that the dinosaurs used. And on a hot day like today, the water is evaporating out of the lake and it collects in the sky, and the next part of the process, condensation. And then the water goes to the part of the process we're most familiar with, which is precipitation, when the rain or snow comes down. The final part is collection, where the water gathers in lakes, streams, or rivers. And that's where the Cedar River Watershed comes in. We have preserved 90,000 acres of land from the crest of the Cascade Mountains down to Maple Valley to protect that area of collection that's the Cedar River.
And Chris, can you tell us a little bit about the Education Center and how it's a resource for the community?
Yeah, the Cedar River Watershed Education Center is here because the Cedar River Watershed is closed. And since people can't go into the watershed, we want a place where people can come, find out about their water, find out about the water cycle and the history of the area. And we have programs for visitors, we have school programs, and it's also open with exhibits that people can come see.
And I hear there's kind of an interesting history behind this lake. Can you tell us about that?
There is. Rattlesnake Lake was not always a lake, and one of the questions we get at the center a lot is, why is it called Rattlesnake? There are no rattlesnakes. If you were here 150 years ago, this was a prairie, and there was a grass that made a sound that sounded like rattlesnakes.
Thanks, Chris. So remember, our water resources need to serve all of us, so use it wisely and creatively. Now let's look at ways to conserve water at home. I'm here with Katie Swickert of the Covington Water District at their beautiful Waterwise demonstration garden. Katie, tell us about the garden and how it serves the community.
Our demonstration garden showcases the 7 steps of Waterwise gardening. Folks can take a self-guided or a guided tour of the garden where they can see, touch, smell, and otherwise relate to a real live, water-efficient landscape. And they pick up ideas for their own yards too. When folks finish a tour, I often hear the comment, "Wow, I've realized that I'm really overwatering my yard at home." In fact, Doug, one study shows that up to 80% of people are overwatering their yards and their landscapes to get the same beautiful results. Other people comment on the amazingly wide variety of low water use plants to choose from for their landscapes.
Can you also give folks at home some really big water tips?
Well, a great one for the garden is to water early in the morning or after sunset. That way, less water is lost to evaporation. And taps, toilets, and shower heads are another source for savings. Did you know that if just 45,000 people, almost the same number of seats in Safeco Field, were to turn off their water when they're brushing their teeth or shaving, we would save up to 450,000 gallons a day. And installing low-flow shower heads in toilets save even more water. But the most outstanding savings comes if the same 45,000 folks took their car to a car wash instead of washing at home. That would save up to 3 million gallons of water.
Wow. Well, it's amazing just how a small change can lead to some really big savings, both for our water resource and your wallet. Thanks, Katie. Now, you've probably heard of catch and release when it comes to fishing for fun, but did you know you can practice it with water too? Greg will show you how.
Rain barrels are a handy way to have extra water available. However, since they hold only around 50 gallons, they can fill up quickly and are used up fast. But you can link extra rain barrels together, and that creates even more water storage. I find it very convenient having rain barrels available for my container plantings and delicate seedlings. By locating rain barrels at downspouts away from your faucet, you can have different spots to fill up your watering can all around the garden. What a bonus! Another method for harvesting water is a cistern. Cisterns are often made of plastic, metal, or concrete. Though cisterns can be expensive and take up a lot of space, they can store a lot more water. If you really want to conserve water, here's something I've tried. You know that cold water that goes down the drain while you wait for your shower to heat up? You can catch that water in a pail and dump it in your rain barrel or cistern for later use. Now that's conserving every drop. Be sure to check our website for a complete list of rain barrel resources and how-to instructions.
Drought-tolerant gardens, also called xeriscapes, have a lot to teach us. I'm standing here amidst the drought-tolerant landscape of the Covington Water District's demonstration garden. First, let's start with identifying drought-tolerant plants. You can often tell a drought-tolerant plant by the way it looks. In general, they often have silvery, small, finely divided, fuzzy, or narrow foliage, like lamb's ears, blue fescue, lavender, and my favorite, sedum autumn joy. Or they have hard surfaces like camellias, rhodies, and our native salal. For more samples and great photos of drought-tolerant native plants, be sure to visit our native plant website. When designing a Waterwise landscape, you want to group your plants by their water needs. Some plants need little or no water, like well-established native plants and drought-tolerant plants. Others need more water and should be grouped with other water-dependent plants, so you aren't wasting water on plants that don't need it. Mulches are an excellent way to reduce water use. Try placing 2 to 4 inch mulch of wood chips or compost around your plants. Mulch helps retain moisture and build healthy soil. Healthy soil grows healthy plants, and healthy plants survive drought better. Finally, by practicing a technique we call smart watering, the natural yard care way, you can help any plant survive better in the summer. Here's Greg with some dirt simple watering tips.
The first step to smart watering is to figure out how much to water. There's 2 tests you can use, and they only need to be done once. A basic rule of thumb is to water 1 inch of water per week for thirsty lawns and plants. To measure that, the next time you water, set out several straight-sided cans, such as tuna cans, near your sprinkler. Time how long it takes for the cans to fill up with 1 inch of water. Now you know how long to water those thirsty plants. To really get to the root of your watering needs, the next test is much better. Turn on your sprinkler, soaker hose, or drip irrigation system for 30 minutes, starting with dry soil. Turn off the water and wait a couple of hours. Now dig a hole and see how deep the water has infiltrated. Has the water penetrated through the entire root zone? In this case, the water is only infiltrated, about 4 inches, which isn't enough to wet the entire root system. We'd have to run that sprinkler a little bit longer. If you have different soil in different parts of your yard, you'll want to test these different areas. Water will soak into a compacted lawn much slower than a raised garden bed. Soaker hoses and drip systems are great for conserving water, but you have to watch out for leaks, which waste water. And once they're buried under mulch, it's very easy to forget they're on. Enter the water timer. So, how often should you water? For lawns and drought-tolerant plants, I water once a month during the summer. Your lawn will likely turn golden for the summer, but it will rebound in the fall. Watering deeply once a month helps the roots of your lawn stay alive and bounce back quicker when the rains return. For the other plants in your yard, water deeply and infrequently, keeping an eye out for wilting leaves. If you see leaves turning yellow, you may be overwatering.
So we've covered a lot of ways to be water wise in both your home and your yard. Around your house, turn off the water when you brush your teeth or shave, install low flow shower heads or toilets, and take your car to a car wash for maximum water savings.
In your yard, use mulch, install rain barrels or cisterns, and group your plants according to their watering needs. Or better yet, use plants that don't need much water, and get to the bottom of how much water your lawn really needs to avoid getting soaked with a big water bill.
From all around Puget Sound right down to our own backyards, we all need to be water wise.
For more information about everything you've seen on today's show, visit our website at kingcounty.gov/yard talk.
Have a question? Call the Natural Lawn and Garden Hotline at 206-633-0224. So be smart, conserve both water and dollars, and have a healthy yard.
And a healthy family and planet, too.